jungle, yeah, Cassante up and available with no Renekton. That should definitely rise in priority. And this Rel as well, of course, has been pretty much pick banned for the likes of OMG.
I mean, Cassante feels like, Shanji's one of his best champions, one of his most played. This was banned against him in game number 1. I feel like the Cassante will either be seen, but no, ignore me. It's Viego early on instead, giving EDG the option to take this way. And Jamada, I will also say that, you know, for Uzi, like things like the Aphelios have been seen. We have seen... have we seen Jinx Million? No, excuse me on that one. Do we need to get bot right now? I guess it's the new question I'm asking you.
You want Alistar at least, I think. Right? You know the rails in the bottom side. You probably want Alistar. Very positive trending matchup typically. Ooh, maybe they go Zyra Khan. That could also be fine too. Very strong 2v2. We know that, and then kind of can be facilitating a very engage heavy jungle or even top laner, depending on where EDG land. They actually stray away from the Rakan. They don't want the 2v2 that provides. Now that is a problem, because if you've got Alistar ultimate as the Silas, that could be a very strong answer. But OMG, they need their AD carry, I think, a little bit more than they need the mid laner right now. I wonder if the flash of that Silas, though, does make EDG consider removing it away in the second ban phase. I anticipate that Abel will just lock this Aphelios in, but it's about where they go with the bans. I feel like the obvious and immediate answer is just more junglers, right? Wukong taken off the table, I imagine, straight away, and then another skirmisher. Maybe even Lee Sin gets a look in as a ban, like unironically in this kind of position, just because they don't want EDG to have a strong 2v2. If they don't want those skirmishers removed, they can also, of course, look towards that Sejuani as the team fighter.
Well, I'm more concerned now about how many mids EDG can take away. Because last time they looked at the Akali, they looked at solo lane. Remember, it was Cassante as well on top of that. But we just saw the flex of the Silas. As you said, with Alistar in the mix, it is just such a potent combo. Hell, even with LeBlanc as well, in the early parts of the lane, when you get that hijack, could be annoying too. As Nico's actually banned away first, EDG won't be able to take it all. So I'm curious about that last ban on top of that, Jamada, but I'm glad you talked about the Lee Sin. Other things as well. We've got rid of the Vi. Wukong, maybe? What do you think? Wukong with this comp? Not too bad.
Wukong, not too bad. I feel like, I'm trying to think, you would really prefer a proper hard engage that can like truly survive through the immediate turn. I like that. The OMG are kind of targeting this Poppy here, right? Just kind of saying, hey, we don't want Jiejie, or in the case of Allah, either, to have a frontliner right now. We want you guys to be as squishy as possible, and we want to try and blow you up. I feel like for OMG, this mid lane pick, likely to be something very flashy again from Creme. Whether or not it's going to be something like the Yone, that's yet to be seen. Honestly, knowing Creme, I feel like he'd be crazy enough to go Akali. I genuinely think he would be. Do I think it's good? No. Do I think he would do it? Yeah.
Yes.
So let's see. Because I feel like they're going to more likely hold on to Shanji's pick. Oh, Cassante's still up, actually. Maybe they just dip into that cookie jar instead.
Cassante
Simply because it's Cassante. But then you kind of give away the counter pick. It's a bit of a, it's a catch-22.
Just take Silas.
Yeah, actually Silas. Yeah, they flashed it. They flashed the hover, didn't they? So Alistar ult there, you're always going to have at least one ultimate. And it does kind of stricken EDG's options in terms of potentially not wanting to give over too many more high-value team fighting ultimates. And again, that can lean you into more skirmish-heavy junglers, perhaps like the Lee Sin or the Wukong.
Well, what partners with it in the top side? Where 4-5, Jamada, you're a genius apparently. Jiejie flashing it over, there's the Lee Sin. Let's see if he's got the eyes to go with it. As to the top side, Arla, what's left? We've got the Jax available. We've got the Cassante. We know that those are both sides of a pretty common matchup here in the league. But Arla is an interesting man. Kennen? No. Jax seems right?
Yeah.
Right, Jax. Jamada? Right?
Yeah, I like this. But I wonder what Shanji was going to take into it in response, right? If this goes through, it does. Because Shanji is he just gonna Cassante it? That would be kind of he's Shanji.
A bit cringe.
He's one of the few players where I'm like, okay, he's got Cassante. It's gonna be a fun game. You know what I mean? Like other times you see Cassante, you spam the I will not yield emote, you spam Riot, you spam the whole copy pasta, thousands of HP, whatever. But Cassante in Cassanji's hands feels like
Cassanji.
Yeah. Have you not heard Cassanji yet? I'm very surprised,
No.
Jake.
I've not
Cassanji. It's very, very, very good. But yeah, I feel like, again, we're geared very heavily into skirmishing. This time around, though, I will say I do favor in my mind, EDG's ability to team fight. I think their mid jungle is very slippery, and the lack of true and consistent hard engage in terms of target access to Uzi could be a problem if EDG aren't finding good angles for it. So he certainly can dish out the damage, and he should be very well protected by this Alistar lock-in as well. Looking forward to seeing how both these sides navigate it. Again, OMG, I feel like in the earliest of stages, should really win out in a lot of the skirmishes, maybe at the level 6 mark if you've got strong ultimates to steal from the side of Creme. But as this game goes on, I feel like team fighting should get easier to navigate for EDG, even though they're running the LeBlanc Lee Sin. All up to execution, though. We'll see how it goes as we move into game number 2. As
the music kicks us into gear. I'm loving it. It is getting extreme on the Guichin, Buildup. Anyway, you know the instrument I'm trying to talk about. It's rock and roll afterwards because OMG brought us into that. Game 1 was a stomp. OMG delivered. And for our top 6, for something that keeps us into a beautiful, beautiful spot for either team, this is a must win. EDG and OMG playoff teams could be like what we're looking at is like 4th seeded teams maybe fighting in regional finals if this keeps up. EDG fans are out. That is very green hair.
Dude, someone tried to start an OMG Jiejie and no one Jiejie.
No one
It's
did.
so one-sided. It's insane. Well, they're certainly going to be keeping the crowd silent if they end up taking EDG down in a 2-game series win, rather. I can't believe it. That in the entire year I've been doing LPL, I've never heard a one-sided Jiejie to the point where OMG just don't get one.
Hang on. Oh, 3 gold. Sorry to interrupt, Jamada. Arla's gone fishing, and he's got 3 gold. This game might be over already.
Wait, is that legit?
You don't know about Jack's passive? New Jack's passive? He goes fishing.
Huh?
He fishes in river.
Excuse me?
He literally has 3 gold. How much Jacks have you not played?
Evidently not a bloody enough. Since when?
Literally, it's a thing. He has 3 gold. Since he got changed with the new Grandmaster at Might.
I need to look into that. I had not even a clue that was a thing.
It is completely irrelevant. It means bugger all. Like, it is the gold that he now has is of killing a Yorick minion. So, you know, it's not something you really needed to know, but it is just something that exists. There's a Meiko with a huge no, but at least the stun comes through. Abel and Ppgod hit 2 first. Uzi with a good sidestep, but it is OMG's bottom lane with control of the lane.
OMG, like you say, should be winning out in the early stages of this laning phase. Alistar, you know, for all of the pros that come with this champion, the con typically is that the laning phase, not necessarily the best, though Ppgod needs to be a little bit careful. Could have been rooted up there. I'm not sure if Uzi's got that E skill. He's got Q. I haven't seen him use the W. Either way, this should just be the story of this bottom side matchup, as we've got picture-in-picture of the red buff being started. Cool.
Nice.
Could be as to why they've lost so much priority, right, I suppose? But
okay.
Still, you know, I feel like a little bit unnecessary.
we know, the thing is as well, like, the Chinese side, this is what happens when we're a piggyback broadcast. You know, Chinese side might be talking about something, a reason as to why, like, again, as you said, maybe they don't have as much priority. Maybe they got to the lane late, right? Always different as, you know, things like LEC, LCS is FoFo just dominating Creme here in this lane. They are the main broadcast, so whatever they talk about, observers listen. But we can say something like, hey, zoom in on FoFo a little bit more right now. And no, nothing happens.
You know, sometimes though, I love how, like, the thinking hive mind of us as casters, like, comes through, and sometimes we're talking about something, and like, the Chinese side are very clearly talking about the exact same thing, because then the observers like focus on it, or like give us like that little bit of information. League of Legends, a universal language, if you know how to speak it, I suppose. I feel like, again, early game, much like game number 1, is likely to be quiet, but once level 6s come in, I feel like that's when, you know, the playmaking ability of a lot of these champions does come online heavily.
Yeah.
So, waiting for that. I wonder who's going to end up with the first dragon, though. because bottom side priority has been so lopsided towards OMG that you'd expect they would have first move in there. FoFo, however, in the mid lane should be winning out on priority basically whenever he feels like it. So that could definitely be an issue that OMG have to try and circumvent. For now, though, it's the bottom lane issue.
Oh, they saw him.
Yeah, they definitely did. Definitely stepped up their stuff.
Yeah, he did. Jiejie maybe a little bit too close to the wave, but also that tri-brush ward, I think, would have given enough vision as FoFo's gone abducted, and Jamada, I've got a cough. So I think at this point you better start talking about Dragon, brother, while I go and die in a corner.
Go for it. It's that old man stuff we were talking about last game, guys, right? Remember, Hysterics 28, he's getting on now. He's, as far as like the league is concerned, he's basically an OAP, so you know,
OAP?
he speaks for like 2 to 3, yeah, old age person.
Oh, okay.
That's the official title.
Oh dear lord.
It's not slander. And well, I guess I'm technically slandering you. Either way, you know, he's got to have a little bit of a break from time to time. Dragon though, set up here. OMG again. You know, priority here on the bottom side should be a pretty consistent thing. This Dragon will be started out on Vision, but I feel like this could be a bit difficult for EDG to contest. I feel like FoFo is going to break his freeze in the mid lane and then look to try and move if I had to wager a guess. But even in doing that, how hard can you contest really? Let's find out. Creme's level 5, bear in mind.
Yeah.
Will not have an ultimate to steal.
FoFo is a level 4 Lee Sin who safeguards, forces the flash out from Creme, maybe too far. Meiko gets the engage as it's a Gravitum of Felios' Dragon. Now way too low. Jiejie can't get him with the Sonic Wave. He's got a pickaxe, but Jiejie right now not feeling as strong as you'd expect as he flashes over the wall. Ppgod gets in as Meiko gets a great engage, but no one there yet, but a safeguard, a Sonic Wave, and a boom. There goes EDG's Uzi, flashes forward into Ppgod. He's exhausted out. He cleanses with the flash help. Uzi gets a kill, and EDG all of a sudden pounce.
3 kills go over to EDG. 1 into FoFo, 1 into Jiejie, and 1 into Uzi. OMG get the objective, but they just stick around for too long. Creme again, not having level 6 there was huge. He wasn't able to steal away the Alistar ultimate for a little bit of extra tankiness, or the Lee Sin kick for an execution on one of these targets. And that ends up yielding heavy. How close was he after he picked up the first kill in terms of XP? Because you can see in the bottom left, that's why the observers are highlighting. After he gets his first kill, he has to be like a fraction away from level 6. Re-engage comes in after the Dragon comes down. It's onto Jiejie, and then it's also onto Meiko. They execute with extreme prejudice once this knockout comes through. It's just not, yeah, it's not enough. When you're sharing XP between that many members, nowhere near. Arky wasn't also able to actually pick up the form either of Alistar, so it all goes very, very wrong for OMG very quickly.
Everyone gets a kill. The Lee Sin, the LeBlanc, and the Xayah. 1 apiece. Dragon goes over to OMG, but a small gold lead here for EDG in the early game. People kind of forget how much damage Tempest Cripple does, or at least Tempest, that part, does right now, as we're getting Silas mid win rates. 1 and 4. Top lane is 2 and 0, by the way. Just if anyone was asking.
Yeah. Top lane, because like whenever top lane Silas comes out, it's always into like Malphite or Gnar, and those are like the unlosable top lane matchups. So I'm not too surprised that, even though it's a very niche stat that it's only been picked twice, that it's won twice, because it's pretty difficult to lose when you're given Malphite ultimate as Silas or a big Gnar role with those hefty AP ratios. Now, mid lane, FoFo and Creme kind of jostling. Jiejie is either waiting to see if he can slip into the river or waiting to see if Creme is going to kind of make a bit of a slip up. But with Shanji already here, again, it feels like a very difficult contest to make happen.
Well,
they want it
maybe
anyway.
It's after the fact. I mean, Herald is going to be taken. Arla jumping out because Shanji's ready to flip him. And all out as Creme and Ppgod moving back in towards mid lane. FoFo trying to threaten, but it's still OMG with the early game objectives here. And as I was talking up EDG having a small gold lead, we come back and gold's actually been evened out by OMG all of a sudden. So early game feeling quite good, despite those kills going over before.
Yeah, not too bad at the end of the day, right? Kind of a bit of a surprise. I'm trying to see like where on the map this has realistically been made up, and I can't really find my answer, to be entirely honest with you. So perhaps just the objective gold at best is what's keeping these guys even, because even the CS department is looking pretty good across the board. A little bit of a pseudo contest here from EDG on that blue, but won't be able to pull anything into it. Uzi will get a plate, so that's a little bit of extra gold in his pocket, but Abel will also have a huge wave to collect here, so that's going to feel just as fine.
I think it's Jungle. Jungle's 14 CS up, meaning what? 4, 8, 12, about 3 and a bit camps. 72 to 58. While now the full engage towards bot side. That Magnustorm draws in 2. It's up to Uzi now as Meiko is just dead meat, but he can't do anything. Kill over to Abel. And great engage, again, from Ppgod as we expect so far in this series.
Yeah, unsure if that was intentional or not, but Meiko actually headbutting back was huge, because if he dies on the spot where he does, Uzi might actually have his ultimate forced out if Arky can, you know, take that form up ASAP and maybe like re-Heartbreaker back into him immediately. So very honest host thinking, if that was the intention. Either way, knew he was going to die. OMG, drop this Herald. It shouldn't die. Oh. It's dead. Wow, okay.
Nice from Jiejie.
Yeah, on the money there. No Herald charge, and a play even drops and doesn't go to anybody, so feels good, man. And well played Jiejie and Uzi for bursting that one out.
Well, it stops the gold trade from going further into Abel's hands, but remember the OMG were able to keep up, and after this trade here, as you said, Meiko playing it as well as he could have, I guess, at this point when they knew Arky was nearby. That's disrespectful.
Yeah, it is, but again, you know, imagine he dies right here on the spot, right? It's immediate, like, siphon form into follow-up through with a Heartbreaker, and yeah, probably loses a cleanse, maybe even an ultimate as
Ppgod dead.
Oh,
can't crash down. He's got flash available, but a Sonic Wave hits. And straight into the resonating strike, a second kill for Jiejie. As Dragon spawns, there is now no engaged support on Ppgod.
Yeah, that was not ideal from Ppgod. Couldn't quite make the wall. Didn't have the length, unfortunately. So, EDG will secure this Dragon. And again, OMG kind of on the back foot at this objective. And unfortunately, even though they got that Herald, because it doesn't really crash in, it's not even like they kind of answered out in gold before this Dragon goes down. So, feels kind of bad here in this one. And now EDG can continue to layer in the pressure off the back of it. Sit down here, even if they're on vision, look to try and pressure Abel a bit as Shanji with that Sunfire Cape Rush.
Got him.
Pressure shot onto Allah.
Wait, Creme actually might have a solo kill. He's got Everfrost and he's got LeBlanc. Creme jumps forward, Flash is forced out, Chain Lash almost gets a second proc. That's a summoner down as we're diving bot side. EDG have scuffed it though. Meiko in his ulti will take a final turret shot as OMG utilize their jungler. A good little return from Uzi as Ppgod still looking here as the re-engage comes through because teleport's there as well. EDG want numbers advantage as Uzi is popping out the damage for Ppgod with the crash down away. FoFo wants the root, but they're out of there. They committed TP. Creme has the mid lane to himself.
Yes, he does. 2 plates go over really easily here. FoFo just trying to answer out for his team. Just came back out onto the map, I believe, with, I think, both Static Shiv and Boot. So just wanted to try and aid in what was a bit of a scuff dive. Actually, execution at the front from EDG. OMG just kind of staved off. So teleport achieves that, but Creme finally getting another cash injection here. Definitely going to hurt in the immediate future. Herald's up in just over 90 seconds, so that's when that could potentially matter. Arky also needs that Triforce. He needs to have that gold. He does, so OMG now, they're ready to fight pretty much across the board from the top side perspective. Bottom lane, Abel kind of trailing on Uzi, but I'm sure should just about have that gold as well, and he does.
In 13 minutes, OMG with a small gold lead. Trinity Force now picked up. We already saw the Everfrost from Creme, but Kraken also there for both 80 carries on that note. We already mentioned the Static Shiv, and we didn't get a chance to mention it, but Arla and Jiejie, both with their core items as well. So we are in the one-item territory across the board, but ultimately, Jamada, what we've seen out of EDG in this early game is a couple of moves that haven't worked out perfectly. OMG right now still in a great position. As you mentioned, later on, maybe it's going to be talking about the team fight, but we also know that with Viego, with Silas, Cassante, like this team is going to be no stranger to a 5v5, and more importantly, a 5v5 that starts off with a pick. That gives a reset for Viego and control to something like a Silas as well as, okay, as they say that, Dragon's Rage, never mind. FoFo gets a kill. We're not at that point yet. We are still in lanes.
Yeah. Great caster curse to a point.
Yeah.
You must, I don't know. Did Dom do something to you, huh? You just cursing OMG like this? Very, very bad from you. Poor form.
Not yet.
Creme though, just overstep. Not yeah. But yeah, Creme just oversteps. Gets punished. Great stuff from EDG. It's not gonna actually equate to an immediate Herald start though. So kind of surprised on that front. There was of course the ultimate blown from Jiejie, so perhaps not willing to fight at that team fight or fight at that ultimate deficit, but also at the same time, like, you had a numbers advantage potentially on spawn. And now it seems like OMG are going to be the ones picking up that objective instead.
True. Being startup solo, I mean, Arky, he's a farming king this game. He's almost got as much CS as his bot lane. And again, this is where OMG, throughout the majority of the early game, felt like they had the gold lead because of, or were equalizing because of this Trinity Force Viego. As he does it alone, Shanji is going to be chasing down Arla, who tries to disturb him, but there's no way Arla gets in. Herald is secured yet again here from OMG. And it's a minute 15 till the next dragon, which feels like it will equate. That Herald being dropped and OMG once again utilizing that pressure to go and fight the objective.
Exactly. Hopefully this time it can actually get a crash in. Seems like they're just going to drop it in the mid lane and be done with it. Get this mid lane tier 1. Lack of wave clear available to EDG outside of this LeBlanc stack Shiv means that will be a bit of a freebie. They won't let this one charge. So OMG, again, knock down that tier 1, much like they did in the same way in game number 1. And hopefully for them, they can start to try and transition this into a little bit more pressure, right? Again, always talking about catching those waves up super high, ensuring that EDG have to catch their wave very late, and then being able to set up vision first. It's always very, very key when you're able to take down a tier 1 well before your opponent. But it seems like FoFo going to be handed the opportunity to just kind of answer out in kind. So we'll see how now the priority lies without these tier 1s available in the mid lane.
Longer mid lanes, longer map. Bot side as well as it gets shoved in. I mean, it's not the only lane under forces. EDG use Fog of War to try and draw in OMG. Creme's the one walking in. Chain Lash will find him. And in fact, this might turn bad for EDG as Magnet Storm with the flash from Ppgod changes it around. Jiejie kiting out as FoFo's here. Arla now joins in as well, but EDG, their health bars are horrible. Abel gets him over the wall, and the turnabout play, after it was them who set the trap, is so good for OMG.
So good, and it could have been even worse as well. That ultimate from Abel was huge. I'm wondering how much damage he actually dealt in that one. OMG get the dragon. They might even actually find Arla. He was traded a little bit aggressively in a 3 versus 1, but Creme being as low as he is and kind of anticipating Jiejie still could be in the area, they will just take the dragon, not put their hand in the cookie jar, and they won't overreach. Good bit of discipline and an excellent team fight. A great punish on EDG's attempt to just find that death rush.
The only thing about OMG getting the kill is every time it's really just been Meiko. There's shutdowns on other members, but they're unable to unhinge that gold as Jamada. We look again, and it's Chain Lash that spots them out, and they just can't get on top of Creme.
Yeah, I mean, it's OMG that kind of just punch EDG back in the face for this one. Feathers are pulled back quite early by Uzi earlier on. I think that's why the observers are highlighting this, because if he could have pulled the feathers back right here and rooted up Creme and every single member that was in that choke, it could have been a much easier team fight to potentially escape away from, but I feel like a bit of a harsh critique, potentially. Because OMG, I feel like we're always winning that team fight on that kind of turnaround, and that choke, very hard to defend. Kind of the, you know, we spoke about the negatives of, you know, having like LeBlanc Lee Sin as a duo. Whilst, of course, the skirmishing power and the side lane threat is incredibly high, in terms of situations like that, where you're trying to, you know, hold the choke, defend the choke, you don't really have the bodies or the health bar to really kind of stave off that kind of aggression from OMG. So it does, again, get a little bit hard to navigate in those kind of instances. But again, it is certainly also one where it comes with its pros and cons. As EDG, the team fighting as the game goes on should theoretically be technically a little bit easier to execute. Whereas OMG, I feel like, you know, there are things that do fall off, but again, the snowballing factors can be crucial. First kill as well for Arky, getting those resets in will always be huge.
I mean, so far, we haven't really seen any of those fights play out, at least any of those skirmishes for OMG's sake, but they are picking up these dragons. They're moving towards a Cloud Soul now with a couple left to go. And so we know that EDG will have to play some of that engage, play some of that, I guess, team fighting you talked about. As ultimately now we wait for the Baron in 50 seconds. Second item already picked up here for FoFo with the Night Harvester. Second for Uzi coming shortly. But OMG will be tracing those item footsteps as well as Creme with a bit more of an expensive build, of course, as you'd expect. I'll be waiting for his second item to come through. And that should be lining up with the timing towards his next dragon. Towards his Baron spawn as well. Which teams seem to be hovering and starting dropping some of this priority vision so that they can get themselves into a position to force. As we know in the LPL, Barons on spawn always a threat. As EDG for now will be the ones who get priority up in this top side.
Yep. We'll do just that. And again, side laning with this LeBlanc is so... It's not only is it very just easy, like, look at that, wave's practically gone. Ooh, and I'm all the way back on the other side of the map. But like, you just tend to grow a massive CS lead uncontested. And I've seen so many LeBlancs basically be up an entire item well ahead of their opponent, just because they're able to CS so freely. And again, you effectively can't really answer LeBlanc ever because she's 2 screens away when she's clearing waves. So OMG will definitely have to find an answer to that sooner, hopefully rather than later for themselves, because that can definitely be something that will turn into an issue. And again, you know, speaking of side laners, the originator, the grandmaster, the fisherman, Jax, is also scaling up just as fast. So they have definitely got to make a couple of decisions kind of snappily, I think has to be said, or that will definitely start to turn into a bigger issue than potentially the 5v5 and the skirmishing for EDG.
God, I hate static shift. I mean, we come back to it. It's 13-12. I know, you know, the AP ratios. Can't remember if they're pretty much gone or
they're
completely
still
gone.
trying to do, like, okay, so, Baron? Or is it just a bit of a whoopsie from Jiejie?
No, it's not a whoopsie. They're doing it. They're actually starting it up, and it's going to go pretty quick with a Lee Sin and a Xayah, if uncontested.
Yeah, how quickly can OMG get here? Now they know it's happening. Teleport's going to have to be pulled by Shanji, surely. Or maybe they just stare them in the face. Push them off it, they do. All right. EDG blinks first here.
The teleport burned, though, in the making of it. I mean, yeah, Shanji not burning it. Maybe a win for OMG is at 5k as they pull off. FoFo tries to push back in, but Abel's damage already respectable here with 2 items now just picked up. So Baron delayed, but Dragon coming up in 30 seconds is one that has to be hit by EDG. Otherwise, OMG move to sell point, and then they have that flexibility in about 5 minutes' time.
Is just the Cloud Soul, though. And this is one of those games where I feel like Cloud Soul, you know, it's nice to have the movement speed. It's very hard to, you know, kind of get a gauge.
Isn't it insane on LeBlanc? Isn't LeBlanc with Cloud Soul late game just bonkers?
Probably zooming. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it on LeBlanc because it's so easy to proc consistently. As OMG, it seems like EDG are kind of giving this for free.
They are.
They don't want it. Yeah, not at all. So, soul point for OMG. Rotations will be useful. I will say that. We'll see how they get on. As again, FoFo stayed up here, getting more CS, and is on his way to that Lich Bane. Almost a full item up on Creme.
I hate it. I just...
Me too.
Look.
I still, like, I don't know what the coding side of it is, right? But why does it build stacks on blinks? Like, I think dashes is fine, but the way that you fix the interaction...
it's got to be distance made, right? I know that's changed. I know, like, they've shifted in 13-13, but it's got to be distance made, right? Like, every footstep creates distance, but going back or forth from a blink, surely that's just more distance.
Like, I don't, again, I'm not a coder. I don't know how easy it is to, you know, perform those kind of miracles without breaking the game, but you would think that's just how you do it. Anyway, Baron's being started up by EDG, and I mean, OMG, they're here.
It's so quick. They just need to get Aki out as teleport now going to be channeled on the same spot from both teams as Meiko runs in. Aki failed to flash, but he doesn't fail the steal. With the ult, he finds in and gives OMG a chance to shine. As now in the pit, his reset going to be denied. And EDG clean up too in an instant. FoFo back over the wall. Finds Abel as Arla now starts spinning. And Abel into his waiting arms has to flash away. But Arla gives no avail. Shanji now in full Cassante mode. Still not dead yet. And trying to outplay. Jiejie runs away. But EDG only losing their top side as that back over the wall from Abel is in the nick of time. OMG left with 1 Baron, but blasted out by Edward Gaming.
Ooh, Cassante almost did the thing again. OMG, though, lose 4. They get the Baron on just Abel. I don't think that's necessarily the best trade in the world. FoFo gonna hit away at the tower up here, and honestly, I don't know if that wave is big enough for him to have enough time, but we'll certainly chunk it out as a replay in. Good attempt here from Meiko, but I think Flash Heartbreaker can't be interrupted once he starts to channel. Yeah, so he can't get knocked up, and then Jiejie just butchers the smack. Like, I don't think Q2 deals 500 damage to Baron. Maybe I'm underestimating, but that was obviously the attempted execute smite Q from Jiejie. Maybe a Lee Sin player can correct me. Maybe I'm wholly wrong, because of course I know it's execution damage, but even onto Baron, that just seemed well out of sync. As yeah, great knockback as well from Shanji onto Ala to stop him from knocking Abel down. That could have been absolutely detrimental. As Shanji
saw how Ppgod died to Uzi from Q&E. He didn't even look at him. What an absolute Chad.
He knows what he's about. Simple as that. Tower goes down. OMG still making a fair amount of use to what they can out of this Baron, but they're going to have to respond to the mid lane push, the bottom side push as well. Seems like they might just trade tier 2s across the map, try and defend this mid lane with just Shanji. But it's 3 versus 1. How far do they go here? Because
you're not going to win a Baron trade.
Have 2 lanes of pressure.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
this is an inhibitor, I guess.
Okay.
Or tower.
And mid's not backing away. At least Ala might be threatening one of his own, and mid still happening here as Creme steals away. I mean, it's just going to be inhibitor for inhibitors. Ppgod almost dies in the process. Creme delaying. I mean, they're going to stop the backs because Ala is a big pusher. This Jax has a big old staff, and he knows how to use it as backs now channeling through. Remember, Abel also has enhanced Baron recall, but one inhibitor turret goes down. It's going to be a double for EDG. Maybe this was the biggest brain of them all, as both inhibitors now exposed, both inhibitor turrets going down. It is an inhibitor trade on the top side, but hey, EDG get more gold, and with a LeBlanc, who cares about minions? They died in an instant anyway.
Yeah, curious map trade across the board there. EDG technically get more gold out of it, right, with all of the towers, so that feels good. But top lane inhibitor wave, kind of crucial when the dragon is spawning up, right? If FoFo has to push out effectively the next wave as well to have a bit of pressure forced out here. As what's going on? What's the replay for? It's how he gets chunked out. Ah, okay.
Okay.
Sure. I didn't even. Yeah, sure. All right. Well, Shanji just, you know, thought the champion was a little bit more than it actually is, and that's the play. Good job for locking him down as EDG, but he didn't really blow anything. And now that ultimate is, I mean, it's just about in time with the dragon, so it's not going to be an issue for Uzi. But certainly could have been. That ultimate was just a touch longer on the CD. Waves were shoved down in the top side, but again, now they're going to stack, and that's a huge deal, right? Yep. Keep your eye specifically on Shanji and Creme. If they can escape this team fight without being too chunked out and EDG end out losing, this could be a teleport into end angle for the top side of the map.
I know OMG something here as the engage starts from EDG first. The pile in massive as well. Abel from the backside free hitting here. Uzi doing the same. He ulties in. The feathers are waiting to be drawn back in, but he gets flipped out. All out. Uzi's down. Aki also gets a reset too. He now becomes the legend as a double kill before he dies, but Aki now blown up. FoFo carrying the fight through as Abel is being juked around. Sonic Wave out of range. FoFo chasing up. It's the bottom lane of OMG to win this fight onto Meiko. The root not there. They've done it. EDG blow a hole in the sides of OMG.
They might just be able to end the game. 20 seconds on Creme and Shanji. Maybe it's just an inhibitor and to turn around, get the dragon. Death timers are lengthy. Ala has teleport in 10. Let's see how confident these guys are feeling.
It's a Lich Bane. It's a Lich Bane here. 10 seconds, as you said. It's got to be with the minion wave there as well. Teleport going to be burned. EDG do have this. I mean, 1 second. I'm confident here, Jamada, but I'm not sure. Demolish here is died. Meiko tries to delay the game, but on the Nexus, heading away. EDG have done it. They've done it. And we go to a game 3 on a hair's breadth.
Could have been squeaky bum time at the end of that game, but EDG have just about enough damage to end that one out. And